Greetings, fellow Whovians. Well, let's get things started with another weekly review. This time we're going to talk about the Ambassadors of Death. Anyway, here we go. With the United Nations Intelligence Task Force providing security, the British space program under Professor Ralph Cornish oversees the launch of the Recovery 7 probe. This has been sent to Earth orbit to make contact with the missing Mars probe 7 and its two astronauts, as well as contact with Earth 8 months earlier. The pilot of Recovery 7, Van Layden, makes contact with the Mars probe but is silenced by a piercing unearthly sound. The noise troubles the doctor, who travels with his assistant Liz Shaw to the Space Center to investigate the situation, offering insights into the origin and meaning of the sounds, which he interprets as coded messages. He also identifies a reply as sent from Earth, which is triangulated as coming from a warehouse 7 miles away. Led by Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, unit troops attack the warehouse and engage in a gun battle with troops commanded by General Charles Carrington. Meanwhile, the Recovery 7 has returned to Earth. Bavall's unit is transporting it to the Space Center. More of Carrington's troops stage an ambush in it and hijack it. The doctor locates it, by which time it is empty. Carrington has ensured the occupants, 3 space-suited astronauts, are detained elsewhere, and is feeding them with radiation to keep them alive. Carrington is now introduced to the doctor by Sir James Quinlan, the Minister for Technology, as head of the newly formed Space Security Department. Carrington says his actions were to protect the astronauts, as they have been infected with contagious radiation. Quinlan states the government did not want the public to become panic-stricken, and reveals that Carrington has been acting with government authority. By the time Carrington takes the doctor to meet the astronauts, a criminal named Regan has organized their abduction, killing the soldiers and scientists guarding them. When the doctor and Liz examine the site, they realize that human tissue cannot withstand the degree of radiation being emitted by the mysterious irradiated astronauts. The doctor believes the astronauts are still in orbit, and that the 3 spacesuits contain alien beings. Dun dun dun. Regan engineers the kidnapping of Liz Shaw to aid his own scientist, Lennox, a disgraced Cambridge professor, in keeping the alien astronauts alive. Regan has even been supplied with a device to communicate with the aliens, and sends them to the Space Center to kill Quinlan. It now becomes clear to UNIT that the aliens are emitting radiation like walking reactors, and that to touch them brings instant death. It is also evident to Liz that Regan is taking orders from someone else. She helps Lennox escape, and he tries to reach the Brigadier, but his bid for freedom is cut short by Regan's merciless revenge. Ralph Cornish is determined to launch another spacecraft to retrieve his astronauts, who the doctor believes are still in the Mars probe capsule in Earth orbit. The doctor volunteers to pilot the rocket himself. As he prepares to blast off, Regan tries to sabotage the mission by tampering with the fuel, but the doctor survives and succeeds in piloting the craft to its scheduled rendezvous in Earth orbit. But at the last moment, an enormous spacecraft bears down on the 2 linked capsules and engulfs them. Aboard the alien spaceship, the doctor discovers the 3 human astronauts, unharmed, but they have been mentally conditioned to believe they are in extended quarantine at the space control on Earth. An alien being reveals itself and explains the humans are being held pending the safe return of the alien ambassadors, who have been sent to Earth to make peaceful contact with mankind. The doctor assures the alien commander that the authorities on Earth knew nothing of this, and gives his personal guarantee to return the ambassadors safely. The alien commander threatens to destroy the world if the ambassadors are harmed. When the doctor touches down, he is kidnapped by Regan, who reunites him with Liz. Regan's paymaster and the real organization of the situation is revealed: General Carrington. I knew it! The general's actions have been prompted by paranoia, arising from his own encounter with the aliens when he was an astronaut on Mars Probe 6, where he witnessed his co-pilot, Daniels, killed by merely touching one of them. Carrington's mind is broken. He has lured 3 aliens to Earth in order to expose them on television, and intends to call on the nations of the world to attack them. The use of the ambassadors to kill was done simply to arouse public opinion against them, but Carrington is so mentally disturbed by his experiences that he cannot grasp the fact that the aliens can destroy the world and cannot be defeated. Carrington departs for the Space Center, where he aims to unmask the alien ambassadors before the eyes of the world on an international TV hookup, and then calls to the powers of the Earth to blast their spaceship from the skies. No one else knows what Carrington intends to say on TV. This buzz call for a surprise revelation of the alien nature of the spacesuited figures. The doctor manages to send a radio message, and unit soldiers rescue he and Liz, and also apprehend Regan and his thugs. The Doctor races to the Space Center and alerts the Brigadier, who arrests Carrington before he can make his broadcast. He is taken away, protesting that he was only performing his moral duty. The Doctor arranges for Ralph Cornish and Liz to return the ambassadors to their own people, so the 3 human astronauts can be released. Whew! Man, that's a lot of stuff going on in this story, huh? Anyway, let's look at some continuity and production elements. In the first episode, the Doctor makes a reference to the Brigadier's destructions of the Silurians at the end of the previous serial. Sergeant Bennett has been promoted from corporal since his previous appearance, which was in the invasion. The Mars Probe space program appeared in two of Virgin's Doctor Who novels. Who Killed Kennedy revealed that the shuttles were developed from technology taken from International Electromatics. In The Dying Days, the program was abandoned when Mars Probe 13 accidentally encountered the Ice Warriors, and it was agreed that Earth would stay away from their territory. However, the 1997 Mars Probe mission precipitates a Martian invasion and takeover. Ugh. This story was initially developed to feature the Second Doctor and his last companions, Jamie McCrimmon and Zoe Harriet. As such, it was set well into the future and did not include UNIT. When all the reactors left the program at the end of the 6th season, it was rewritten to fit the consequential revamp. Original script editor David Whittaker proved incapable of writing for the incoming new format cast, hence the contributions of Trevor Ray, Terrence Dix, and Malcolm Hulk. All concerned parties agreed to leave sole credit to Whittaker, as this was the last Doctor Who serial with his name on it. In an interview years later, Terrence Dix recounted the experience of rewriting Whittaker's story. Quote, "One situation I inherited as Doctor Who script editor was Ambassadors of Death and the ongoing tangle with that. David Whittaker had gone through 4 or 5 drafts, and he came to a stage where he writes so much it just gets worse. What was happening was that the need for the script was very urgent, and I stormed to producers Peter Bryan and Derek Sherman and said, 'Look, we've got 5 drafts of this. David's fed up with it. He doesn't know what to do. What we need to do is pay David in full and Matt Hulk and I will finish.' And that's basically what we did. I made sure that David got a full script fee for all his episodes because he'd been buggered about the establishment, and Mac and I took the bare bones of his story and almost did war games. Wrote new scripts very quickly, and it shows. It had its moments, though." End quote. Working titles for the story included The Invaders from Mars, later the title of Big Finish Productions audio drama, and The Carriers of Death. The opening titles of the story start with the normal music and graphics. It immediately fade after the Doctor Who title caption. There is a short teaser for episode 1, and episodes 2 through 7 feature a reprise of the previous episode's cliffhanger. Starting with a scream, followed by a zoom in on the words "The Ambassadors," concluding with "of Death" and a zap effect. The experiment was not repeated after this story. This was the first story to feature the sting or scream into the end title theme. It was added by Brian Hodgkin of the BBC Radiophonic Workshop to improve and shape the closing credits. Location filming took place during January and February 1970 at Blue Circle Cement in Kent, Marlow Weir in Buckinghamshire, Southall Gasworks in Middlesex, and various shots in Aldershot, Hampshire. Studio recording then took place during February and March 1970. The alien underneath the spacesuit was achieved by layering the actor's face with blue makeup, tissue, latex rubber. Because it was uncomfortable for the actors, the makeup was applied shortly before they had to go on set. As the story was supposed to take place in the late 1970s, the spacesuit was designed as a futuristic version. Caroline John's husband, Jeffrey Beavers, briefly appears as a unit radio operator, credited as Private Johnson. Ronald Allen had appeared the previous season and was the eponymous antagonist in The Dominators. Michael Wisher would go on to appear on screen in Terror of the Autons and Carnival of Monsters, and was being one of the regular Dalek voices during the Pertwee era, before becoming the first actor to play Davros in Genesis of the Daleks. Jeffrey Beavers would later play the Master and the Keeper of Traken. Peter Halliday, who had provided the voices of the aliens, also supplied the voices of the Silurians in the previous story, had first appeared in Doctor Who in The Invasion in the previous season, and will later appear in Carnival of Monsters alongside Michael Wisher, City of Death, and Remembrance of the Daleks. So yeah, overall, a pretty interesting and unique story if I do say so myself. So, overall, I give The Ambassadors of Death 3 sonic screwdrivers out of 5. Well, join me next week as we encounter something called Inferno. So, until then, this is Tubi and Queen saying, "Oh my, giddy out! When I say run, run! I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow. Would you like a jelly baby? Fantastic! Allons-y, Geronimo! Bow ties are cool, vests are cool, and Stetsons are cool.